So, welcome. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me, Sat-Sung. It's great to see you.
I'm really happy to be here.
Thanks. And like I always do, I'm going to read your bio so that our listeners, viewers can get to know you a little bit. And then we're going to just dive in. Sat-Sung Kalman Hassid is a human design coach and a Bach flower practitioner. Sat-Sung's specialty is in supporting driven individuals and small teams to get unstuck, move forward, and reach their potential and their goals. She does this by helping her clients remove blocks and barriers that are holding them back so that they move easily and successfully, bridge that frustrating gap between where they are now and where their potential lies. Satsang helps close clients in Israel and worldwide. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here again.
Nice to see you. So tell us a little bit more about what does that really mean? How do you help your clients to get unstuck and how do you help the teams?
Well, I'm trying to think if I should talk. I work with human design and Bach flowers, like you mentioned, and how I do this is, I guess, metaphorically. Bach flowers are flower essences, and they work in a similar way to, say, homeopathics in many ways. They're very, very diluted. And what they do is they help get rid of blocks that are holding us back. I sort of see it as like, we're trying to get somewhere and there's like barriers on our path or there's static on our connection, and they help clear those out and they help us bring out our best qualities. And human design is this it's like this amazing modality. It's what it does is you get sort of a map of who you are, sort of your end destination. It's not like a personality test, which says how you are now. It's an end destination. And so you can sort of see the best way to do things like making decisions, how to communicate more effectively. It's really great for marketing. It's sort of a map of how you interact energetically with the world. And I know that sounds very, very, very vague and, maybe not that concrete, but trying to think how to summarize it. And so through the two of them, the human design gives you an end destination, how you can operate best. So you're optimizing your energy and just being more in tune with yourself and listening to yourself. And Bach flowers help clear out all those things that we pick up over our lives. We're conditioned by our surroundings. We've had like difficult experiences in the past, which has left traumas on us. We have certain things we just want to get over. And so between the two of us, it sort of clears out away and we can sort of move forward to where we feel our potential is. Because I know for myself, speaking for myself, and this is why I'm really driven, is there's often a gap between where we stand and where we know we can be and where we know we can give like our contribution to the world or whatever it is that draws us. And that is what I help people with.
That's awesome. So can we make this a bit more concrete?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say yesterday, actually, it's a true story. Yesterday, all kinds of things happened that that really triggered me, and I was feeling overwhelmed, and I was feeling abandoned. Like that old abandonment stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like said, "Hi, I'm still here," or to some degree. And at the end of it, then I got really mad. And at the end of the day, the way I dealt with myself, I was working with myself, and I just sort of like told myself that I was with me, I was by my side, and I wasn't going to abandon myself. But what kind of if I would have talked to you yesterday, what would have happened?
Well, let's look at the Bach flower side at first of all, and we can talk about the human design afterwards. And so the Bach flowers, what they help do is they don't change your personality, they help clear things out. So you said you're feeling triggered and abandoned and angry about things. And so if you'd come for Bach flowers to help you feel better, I would have asked you questions. For instance, let's say the anger. I would have, because there are a lot of different how it works with Bach flowers. There's 38 different tinctures, and each one helps certain mental states, emotional states, or moods, or feelings, how we're thinking. And so how I work with them is through conversation, figure out what it is that's bothering you, because that's what I call a symptom, and that's why you're coming. And then what the root cause is, because if you don't deal with the root cause, it's going to come out somewhere else. Let's talk about the anger thing. If it doesn't come out in anger, one will get a headache or a backache or will be really grouchy. And so if you'd come to me, or someone else comes to me, saying that, I would have asked, like, what is the root of that anger? What happened? And through that, trying to figure out the bigger picture. And if someone's saying they're feeling triggered and this and that, and when people come to me, it's with a specific issue that's been going on in their lives generally it's less of a transient thing. I have this mood here, but if the mood repeats itself, and looking to see what sort of patterns there are in the big world. Does this show up here and here and here, and it's the same root? It's the same, say, root of feeling insecure, and so it comes up in different ways. And through that, I would have created a bottle of different tinctures of Bach flowers. And in human design, how it would have been is that human design is based on several different modalities. Among them is astrology and the chakra system, the I Ching, and to get is what's called it's your human design map or chart, and it's based on one's birth date and one's birth time, and it shows things. It shows some of our gifts, it shows our strengths, it shows how we can make decisions better, and some of the ways we can lead into opportunities. And so let's say again you're feeling triggered and you're feeling angry and you're feeling abandoned. One can take a look at your chart and see if there's certain things through there that could help you, like perhaps. And again, I'd ask questions like, why did these things come up? Is something that happened in your surroundings? Is this because of a decision you made or not? And then sort of figure out how to work through that. And that still sounds a little bit vague, I know. Maybe I'll give an example for myself. Okay, so let's say I was feeling those things. Now, in my chart, there are a number of my human design charts, a number of things. One of them is that I need to spend a lot of time alone. Not everybody needs time alone to regenerate, but if you need a chart, even more so. So if that's the case, I would have asked myself, I know I need a lot of time alone. Am I feeling this way because maybe I've been out too much, which actually has been this past week, and I haven't had enough time to sort of regulate myself more by being alone? Or is it because there's certain people who are very highly influenced by certain things, like sometimes ideas of other people? And if you know you have that tendency, one can ask oneself, are these really my thoughts that have triggered me, or did I pick them up from someone else? And again, these are things that we also learn through different modalities or healing through a whole lot of things. But when one sees it in one's human design chart, one can see one thing that I really like is that one can see where some of our, you could say, more vulnerable in some areas, and some areas where we're more resilient, and then work with those. And then, because every chart is good, how we are, I think no matter what modality we look at, we're good. The more we understand ourselves, the more we can be ourselves. And so that's my approach. And I use the human design and the Bach flowers because I think they're just effective the way I work. And I'm worried that's still not very concrete. I think perhaps I'm not thinking concretely this morning. I don't know what it is. Usually I'm pretty concrete.
No, I think it's getting clearer. So it's almost like if I would put a spin on it, I would say, the human design really, oftentimes we want to have explanations, right? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
we like to understand, it's like something I think that human beings helps us, or we think it helps us. It's like, oh, okay, this is what it is, and this is what it means. So I can categorize things, I can put things in my drawers. So I think human design sort of helps to get a better understanding of ourselves and how we navigate ourselves through this lifetime.
Let's take a quick break. I want to remind you that if you're interested in learning more about neuro emotional coaching or kinesiology, if you would like to have a taste, find out what it could do for you or your business, your family, please look at the show notes. There's a link for a 30-minute free introductory meeting, and we can explore it. You can look at what is holding you back, what are your dreams, what is it that you always wanted to achieve. Don't be shy, sign up. Now, let's get back to the show.
And
I couldn't have said it better myself. Exactly that. What it does. Yeah.
you
Sorry,
know, and
I
then,
interrupted you.
we have the Bach remedies that sort of helps to change our vibration. It's like, yesterday I'm sure, like my toilet broke, my front, I'm about to lose a piece of my front tooth, and so there were these external things happening, and then some, and maybe I was already vibrating at a low frequency because of all the stuff that was going on. just got back from the States. I'm still jet lagged, and boom, so and I think it's good to know what is where are we going, what's going on with us, and so that we can work with ourselves. And so the tools that you offer, it's just really awesome because it just gives us a greater understanding of where we're going, what's happening with us.
You're right, because you worded it far better than I ever have, because that's exactly it. One thing that I really love about human design is that it puts into words things that many of us have always sensed about ourselves, but by putting it into words and seeing it concretely, it gives it an extra power of how to work with it. And the same with dynamics. I also work with couples and with parents and kids, because when you understand the other person, how they operate, because there's this intrinsic bias that we have, is that unless we know otherwise, we often assume others are like us because we just don't have an extra reference. And so it's very good to see how this other person that we deal with very, very closely is really wired differently. Like, they make decisions differently, that their optimal way of making decisions is different. Their optimal way of communicating is different. And so you're right. It's a cognitive way of understanding energy, one could say. And it's a really interesting framework onto things. And one thing I like about it, it's very individual. It's not like one size fits all, three sizes fits all. It's how am I, myself, you, Barbara, me, Sat-Sung, how do we operate energetically in this world? And so I just love that. I just love it.
Awesome. I just wanted to ask you a question. So, and I don't know that much about human design. Yeah, but does it also deal with sort of like past lives and karma, or is that not something?
It's less so. I think you could say any sort of thing we could deal with past lives and karma, because they make up who we are right now. It is more it says greater focus is how we are in this, like how we are designed this lifetime, our imprint in this lifetime. So of course it carries the imprints of past lives, because that affects who we are here. It deals with more of how we were born into this lifetime.
So
And
what we're
then
dealing
again, carrying those things with it.
yeah, this lifetime, what's my lessons this lifetime? What am I here to do?
Exactly. And of course, what we're here to do in this lifetime is so affected by what happened in past lifetimes in the karma you talked about. But it's sort of a snapshot of this lifetime.
Maybe this is too personal of a question, but would you be willing to share a little bit about what you're learning this lifetime, what you've learned about yourself?
Wow, there's a lot of things. There's been a lot of things coming up in the last little while. One of these things. It's interesting because I've been dealing a lot with feeling not enough. And I really thought I dealt a lot with that a number of years ago. And I'm wondering, I've been talking with some friends about it, because I've been seeing how that really affects so many different things in my life. And I think I'm coming up another level of it, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm interested in what you think, because at one point in my 20s, I had an interesting thought. I thought, I think there's certain things in our personalities that we carry throughout our entire life. We might move up levels, but they might be sort of ongoing issues in our life. And I don't have a question for that, but I sort of see it for myself. I remember once this is many years ago, looking back diaries from previous years. And my passion is personal development. Like, this is what I'm interested, I think, in this lifetime is it's expanding. But yet I noticed I was going through the same things, and not feeling enough has been something that's reverberated through my entire life. And in Bach flowers, Dr. Edward Bach created the Bach flower system about 100 years ago. He was an English physician, and then he got disillusioned with the medical system, and he believed that patients were the most important thing, and not the sickness. One of his approaches is that many of us, he said all, I think many of us have a certain core Bach flower which we carry for us much of our lives, that we're always needing to go back to it, which sort of reinforces this thought of mine, but I'm not certain. There's other people who think that we always change, and I don't know. I'm not. I just know for myself that that thing of feeling not enough is something that has returned and again and again and again. But it's something that really interests me, whether we just go to different depths or levels of a core issue, or if we can move beyond it. Is that the point of karma? Like moving beyond something? Like, I don't know. I really don't.
Oh, well, I think we can move beyond things because we do. Because sometimes we're complete with something and then it's done and it doesn't show up again. And I think there are issues of where there's different layers. Like I was saying yesterday, I felt like some remnants of abandonment issues showing back up, which is something I've dealt with all my life, and I'm sure previous lives. So the question, I mean, there's a couple questions. Are there sort of like core issues that we experience as human beings in various ways? But, yesterday I was thinking, I moved to Israel because it's certainly triggering some old issues and it's giving me an opportunity to complete them. When I go to the United States, it's like I have such a different experience from when I am here. It's like it's you can't even compare. It's like the total opposite. And so really yesterday I was thinking, oh, good, you came here, you chose this. It's not so easy, so that you have that, so that I have the opportunity to complete or continue to work on. I don't want to be so presumptuous to say I get to finish all my issues, but that I get to move forward and new layers of my issues that I haven't been able to get to previously. So I think it's all of the above. I think we can complete things, and because I've seen it in my own work. Yesterday I was working with a baby, and mom was asking me if there was some sort of past life that I could look into to see if there's something that could be cleared or energetically be neutralized. And I don't work that way. I don't go to a past life just to look at the past life if it shows up in the work. And so I was just working with this baby who was like 4 weeks old, and I was so aware of that, the precious opportunity that we have to work on ourselves when we're really young probably changes the course of our lifetime. Just imagine, somebody did human design with you when you're 5 years old, gave you some Bach flower remedies when you were little, changed so many things. So I think we just need to trust that whatever we're working on is coming to us at the right time.
I agree.
They're ready for it, and now it's here, and that the right practitioner, whether it's human design or Bach flowers or kinesiology, what I'm doing, that it's what's meant at that moment.
Yeah, I agree. And I just think the most important thing we can do is just listen to our inner voice. I mean, I think that's, if you look at the core of what I do, I mean, I think the core, speaking for myself, is just having people listen to themselves. And I think human design helps with that, because the more you understand yourself, the more you can ignore the voices from outside. And Bach flowers, that's what they do. They clear out barriers from your path. And so I feel for myself, that's, if you want to get rid of the, how it works and everything, that's what it is. It's people listening to themselves. Because when we listen to ourselves and decide accurately what's good for us, we get to where we need to be. And that's even with human design, for instance. One thing I always work with is decision making, unless someone really has it, right? But the reason I do is that I really believe that decision making is a core to just about everything in life, and that even if we do nothing else in life, if we just make the right decision after decision, even most of the decisions, even half the decisions, like we're gonna get to the right place. And I think, if we do more, we'll get there faster. But sometimes speed's also overrated. Sometimes experience is important. There's in human design, there's what's called profiles, and one of the profiles is a person who learns through experiences. There's no failures; it's just only experience. I mean, you can say that for everybody, but again, like I said, when it's in your chart is even more pronounced. And so I think sometimes, we get to where we get because we're supposed to be there, and at the pace we get there.
No, right. No, it's true. And I think what you said is super important because I think, and I know this for myself, that oftentimes we do know what the better decision would be, and I want to get away from the right or wrong, and we don't do it.
Yeah.
We just, I look at it, I see it, this is maybe not the best course of action, I go straight for it.
Yeah, I know.
What is
I
that
know.
all about? What do you think that's all about?
I think a lot has to do with conditioning. I mean, I see myself doing it, and I suddenly think, oh my goodness, how is it that I'm doing this? This is my profession, helping people with decisions, and why am I still not listening to myself with decisions? But I think it's also being human. We're not perfect, I think that's part of it as well. And just accepting that. I mean, that's what I think I'm working on for myself. You asked what this thing is that I feel that I'm working on is not enough, and maybe I was thinking the other day I just need to change it, that it isn't enough. I mean, what is not enough? Perfection is perfect. Like maybe just to change our narrative a bit.
So how do you do that? So when you feel like you're not enough and you working with yourself, like how do
Well,
you?
one thing that works for me a lot is reframing things. My mind is quite busy. In human
Yeah.
design, I have a defined head and defined ajna. For anybody who knows, just basically means there's a lot of thoughts in my head all the time. Other people are a lot quieter, and so because I work with my head a lot, and it helps me reframing something cognitive, and so that really really helped me to think of things in a new way. When I think of things differently, it really helps me. Like, I'll give you an example. I was just doing a challenge this week with someone I know. It's their how to bring your dreams to fruition,
Mm.
and I have one of my dreams is bringing human design. I have a certain human design program for small teams, and I really want to bring to law offices. I used to be a lawyer for many many years, and I love lawyers, and I think but that's a side thing, but it's just a big thing for me. So through this, I broke it down to steps. And so through this reframing, it's like it's not such a big thing. It's actually pretty simple. All of a sudden things become a lot easier. And the same things, like I just find that for me, what I do is I just like to think of things in a different way. There has to be something that makes sense to me logically. I'm very, very logical. And so to really think about like, how can I look at this in a new light so that I think about it differently, and so my emotions are different about it, and so it's easy to get to. That's what works for me personally. It doesn't work for everybody. It works for me specifically because because my mind. I work a lot with my mind. For someone who doesn't, a different strategy would probably be more effective.
Wow. So you're going to bring human design to small law?
Well, I have a little bit, but this is it's something that's been a dream of mine for a long. I don't know. I was a lawyer for many many years. I really love the profession of law. I like things intellectual. I really found it a great challenge in Canada. I was a tax law here in Israel, a high tech lawyer, and I
Wow.
love it. I really really loved it, but the stress got to me, and things had to be done yesterday. If you look at my human design chart, I'm a little bit more of a slow moving in many areas, and so as my health started suffering, and so I ended up quitting a job, which is actually really really hard, very hard experience. I remember, yeah, but because of that, I really I have such positive memories of being a lawyer, and I feel that lawyers in many ways as well many look successful on the outside, but it's a very very high stress profession. And many lawyers are suffering from a lot of tension, a lot of health problems, a lot of addiction problems. And it's always been my dream to bring the things that I do, which are holistic, and look at the whole body and the mind body connection, emotions, into law firms, into lawyers, because I think it could make such a difference for so many people. And so one of my current dreams, one of the ways I do it is I have a human design program, which is for small teams, which helps small teams, about 6 to 12 people, learn how one another works better. How each person communicates, how each person decides. so that one person's not taking all the responsibilities because they just might act faster, and one person is not thought of as being not interested just because they operate slower into it. So to show things, really mapping it out and cognitively, and through that, improving collaboration, good feelings, happiness, and more effectiveness. Because when everybody understands one another better and works together better, there's better output. And so this is my dream. So I just think it's such a, and the good part of it also carries individually to the team members individually afterwards, because they'll understand more about themselves. And so I've done this for some sort of healer groups, just because that's sort of the community I've been in. And I really, really, this is my plan starting, now bringing to law office as well, because I just think it could be so useful, so useful for people. And that's my dream.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I think, the lawyers I know, it's always stressful.
It is, and it's simple. It's only a couple of meetings. It's quite short because all the work I do is beforehand, because I know how time is money. When I was in Canada, we were doing, like here in Israel, billable hours are by the quarter hour, like 15 minutes. When I was in Canada, it's by the 6-minute intervals. And so it's like every minute is really, really, really important. And because I come from that, I understand that. And so this is, I'm not meaning to be like a salesman, but just because it's coming from my heart from this, it's very low time commitment on the law firm part, because I just want people to be happier, live better lives.
Are there any tips? We talked about, the two modalities. We talked about reframing things. Is there any other tips that you
I
have for
really
people?
think, I know that the notes you gave me beforehand to prepare for this, one of the questions was, what suggestion would you make to people, or something along those lines? And it goes back to something I said, which is just to listen to yourself. Like it sounds easier than it is, because we're always told what we should do and what people should do, and we have all these obligations. But the more that we can just tune into who we are and put quiet outside of us. And if someone is wanting a simple Bach flower that helps for that, is walnut. I mean, it's not just that, that's a symptom. Of course, there's all the root causes as well. And another one is called serrato, which helps us trust our own judgment more. So if someone is just listening to this and wants to pick something up that will help them, you could try both of those. And just understanding yourself more and making good decisions, I think, is the best way to get to where you want to be in life. Even if you don't know what that thing is, and not all of us know what it is, and that's fine that we don't know what it is. Just one step at a time.
Good. That's really good advice. And if I may add, just be patient with yourself. And I think oftentimes, at least for me, it's like I'm afraid to do what I hear my inner voice is saying, because of the judgments and the responses that will happen on the outside. So, to be patient and to lean into that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And if we're talking about for patience, because that is a really important thing, patience with ourselves. There's another Bach flower called impatience, sort of similar in the name, and that's also good for patience for others and with ourselves. We're not doing things exactly as we want them to be, to just be a bit kinder to ourselves. So I agree with you 100% with that.
Well, we covered a lot. And anything that you want to leave us with for today?
If anyone has any questions about anything, you are always welcome to talk to me. I love talking about the things that I do, and I'm always happy to answer questions. So my website will be in the show notes, I assume, and you're very welcome to be in touch with me. And yeah.
And I think you had a special, right? That you wanted to offer?
I did, and let's say that anybody who does anything wants to have any sort of human design session, or wants to do Bach flowers with me, can get 15% off for the next 2 weeks.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you so much. That's very generous of you.
And thank you, Barbara, for inviting me. I'm really, really happy to be here. I think you're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. And have a great day.
You too. You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Something New is Possible. And here are the takeaways. Number 1, make one decision today that comes from your own inner guidance rather than outside expectations. Number 2, whenever a negative script shows up, recognize it and meet yourself with compassion rather than criticism. Number 3, if you feel pulled in different directions, practice tuning out the noise for a few minutes and listening for your own inner voice. Number 4, consider adding a gentle support like Bach remedies such as walnut, serrato, or impatience to help you stay aligned with yourself. Number 5, choose one small way to be more patient and kind with yourself today, especially when you feel like you should be further along. Remember, you don't have to be perfect to move forward. You just have to keep choosing what's truly right for you, one step at a time. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to our channel. Please share the podcast and have a great week. Take care.